Welcome to Backstage Pass, Nicolet College, where every role has a story and we're here to tell it. My name is Jacob Wojciech. Let's not waste any time and head backstage. All right, welcome backstage, literally backstage. We're in the green room here behind the theater at Nicolet College. So I have Christin Van Kauwenberg here with me. She is the Institutional Effectiveness Accreditation Liaison Officer here at Nicolet College. So for this podcast, this is a fun way to get to know the folks behind the scenes here at Nicolet College, like Christin, that work tirelessly for the students. So Christin, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself here at Nicolet College?
Yeah, sure thing. So I have been at Nicolet for 14 years now, and just moved recently, 2 days ago, moved into my fourth position as the Director of Institutional Effectiveness and Accreditation Liaison Officer. So prior to that, I've worked in business intelligence and then a lot of student engagement and student success were the first two positions I held. So I used to be very connected with the students and I absolutely loved it. And now my work has taken me to where I get to help support all of the people around campus that directly influence and impact our students. And I really enjoy that as well.
Fantastic. So what does the Director of Institutional Effectiveness and Accreditation Liaison Officer do on a day-to-day basis? I mean, I've heard rumors that you have spreadsheets wallpapered in your office.
Yeah, so I get to play a lot with spreadsheets and data, and one of the main things I help do is surface information to help areas, departments, directors make decisions that will help move their areas forward in hopefully the most direct and beneficial path. So on any given day, I'll be working with faculty to help look at things that are happening in their programs. I'll work with deans on requests for labor market or district-wide information to see if a program is feasible for us to potentially explore starting. I'll look at historical information to see where we've improved. In my role, I now also get to help support grants. And I love doing that, really help drive the institution forward, figure out how can we strategize and make the best use of resources that we can go after from a grant perspective as well.
That's amazing. So understanding that this position you've just moved into is relatively new, what are you most excited about as the position develops, as it unravels?
Yeah, I think probably just new challenges. So the Accreditation Liaison Officer is new to me. I was very involved with the Higher Learning Commission's recent visit to the college. And so stepping into that role, I'm nervous. It's a very large commitment, but I'm also excited to kind of explore and expand my career opportunity in that way. So helping not only the college continue to make sure we're doing things to be ready for our next iterations of accreditation review, but also helping the academic programs with any programmatic specific accreditation processes they have.
Now, when you say HLC,
Higher Learning Commission.
Why is that so important to the college?
Yeah, so without accreditation through a regional accrediting body, so for us it's the Higher Learning Commission, we as an institution are not actually allowed to grant federal financial aid. And so many of our students rely on that, depend on that. And so that accreditation process with the Higher Learning Commission is incredibly important. What it's really doing is a quality check saying that, yes, we affirm that this institution is doing what they should be doing to assure that we're offering quality academic programs, that we're doing what we should be doing to help support our students, and that we're doing it in a way that makes sense for who we are as an institution.
And I know the last HLC accreditation that we had some great results, if you wanted to share those.
Yeah, so we actually were able to get through that process by meeting all of the criteria, all 5 of the criteria and components that we needed to meet. So we're hopeful, I believe it's next week, Monday and Tuesday, that we'll hear the final official word that we are good to go with meeting everything that we needed to. So what that really means is we don't have any additional interim reporting to do or interim visits that will happen. Our next big step will be at the 4-year mark, so in about 3.5 years from now, we'll be submitting a midterm report.
Which I'm sure you're already planning for.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, thanks for the short snippet of everything that you do, because I know it'd be impossible to fit it into 5 minutes. So why don't you tell us why Nicolet College? What brought you here? What has kept you here? And why do you want to spend the rest of your career here?
Yeah, so I started at Nicolet, prior to Nicolet, I guess I should say. I worked at UW Oshkosh as a hall director, and I knew that I loved working with students, but I'm sure, as you can imagine, being a residence hall director and living where you work with 300 first-year students is maybe not ideal for a long-term career move. So I always wanted to move back up to the Northwoods, and so I was fortunate enough that I was able to do that. My educational background was actually in finance. I have a bachelor's degree in finance, and so I started working for a bank and realized very quickly that I missed student interaction. And so through another job in between there, was eventually able to get into Nicolet doing student engagement work. And I really missed working with college students. I didn't realize how much I would love working at a 2-year school and like really living out our mission every day and being connected with the students and the communities and their families and seeing that impact like so concretely, constantly throughout our work. And so that's one of the things I love about Nicolet is just like our students and their stories and the direct impact that we have, not only on them, but our broader communities that we all live in.
You wear it in your smile. I mean, when you talk about Nicolet, you can tell how much you love it and how passionate you are for the college here. What would be your favorite hobby or interest outside of work?
Ooh.
So we move away from the building.
I love going to concerts. Like, I love live music. Absolutely adore it. I don't go to a ton around here. I like to travel and make it more of an adventure. So I actually just got back from a trip to London where I was able to see 4 concerts while I was there.
That is amazing.
Yeah, so it was super fun.
How long were you there?
About 2 weeks, just under 2 weeks. So
2 weeks of music. That's fantastic.
So it was a good time.
What was your favorite?
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish.
Oh, she puts on an incredible show. And it was really cool. So it was in Manchester, so a little bit north of London. And James Cameron was filming the concerts in 3D. So it was really neat to see, like, there's always a lot of cameras at at concerts, but there was like probably 3 times the amount that you would have expected. But she, like, just amazing showmanship and just the crowd being so into it, and it was just a really good experience.
Yeah, the emotional connection you get with everybody.
And that's why I like live music so much. It's like, you know, I know they normally sound better on records than they do live, but you miss the experience of being able to like see and hear and like feel.
But it gives me goosebumps thinking about it, you know. Yes. So. That's wonderful. Anything else slated for the summer, or is that your?
That is probably the end of the summer. In October, I'm running my first half marathon. I'm doing the Detroit International Half Marathon. So you run part of it in Detroit, you run over the Ambassador Bridge into Windsor, Canada, and then you run back in an underwater mile in the tunnel that connects Windsor and Detroit.
Do you have to stop at customs on your way across?
You have to run with your passport. And you had to like register with your passport, and you have to take it to packet pickup too.
So have you been training for this, or are you an avid runner?
No, I'm not a runner. I was a swimmer growing up, so like I know I can do distance.
Okay.
But running was always like the bane of my existence. I hated it. The worst part about dryland training, it was the worst part about basketball practice. But I just really, I don't know, I wanted to do something. I was like getting bored with just always walking, and I was like, oh, I'll see if I can get into running. So actually, I ran 4 miles yesterday afternoon, which isn't a ton, but what needed to happen. So yeah. But no, so it's I like the mental challenge of it too. It's a lot. Physically, I know I can do it. It's like those mental blocks and working through them.
The euphoria at the end.
Yeah, being done. It's all level 2 fun. Is what I like to say.
Okay. What do you think sets Nicolet College apart from other institutions?
The community. Like, our staff community, I think, is amazing, and just like the care and compassion that we all have towards the students. And going back to the Higher Learning Commission visit, just listening to the stories that our faculty and staff would share about the work that they do and the impact and their whys behind being here, and the connection and sense of purpose that they feel to the mission and the institution. I think it just makes us really special.
I think I could share that sentiment. You know, and you're coming from other institutions, yes. I think you have a really good grasp on that. Well, let's see. Well, And maybe if you've noticed, maybe you've not, but Kristen's got a very unique shirt on.
A music festival shirt on.
And we asked her to wear a shirt that means something to her, so she could tell us about it.
Yeah, so this shirt is from a music festival called See Here Now. It happens in Asbury Park, New Jersey. And it was such a fun festival. It's on the beach, so you're standing in sand the whole time. Which isn't great for your joints. I was gonna say, it does. They do get sore. But the lineup at this festival was really, really phenomenal. The Killers were the night 1 headliner, and then Foo Fighters were the night 2 headliner, who I love. I've seen them, I think, 12 times live. But the lineup during the day were like the Beach Boys, Sheryl Crow, just an unbelievably good lineup. But it was a great, absolutely wonderful trip, being able to walk up and down the boardwalk in New Jersey, getting up, watching the sunrise, like finding little hole-in-the-wall places that like Bruce Springsteen used to go. So it was a really great adventure.
So music is really a passion for you.
Yeah.
You got surround sound in your office?
No.
Can you work with music?
Yes. I can definitely work with music. I run to music, so a lot of people can't do that. Like, I can't run without it. Like, that the beats really, I think, help keep me motivated. I actually am very careful about curating my running playlist to make sure that if I have like 2 slow songs in a row, I know that's like I'm done for. I can't put it on shuffle. Like, there's no way. It has to be like on a specific playlist.
I must have music as well, like that fuels me for work. How old were you when you first went to your first concert? Do you remember? Who was the artist?
This is so embarrassing. It was Kenny G and Tony Braxton at the Target Center in Minneapolis, because I grew up in the Twin Cities. I think I was probably in like 5th grade, so not super young. And then there was like a pretty big lapse there. So I got more into music in college. I went to Arizona State, so in Tempe, Arizona. Okay. And at the time, it was a pretty big music scene. Like bands like The Format, Jimmy Eat World were coming up from that area. And The Format, most people probably don't know, but Nate Russ, who then went on to be the lead singer of Fun, was in that band as well. And so there's just a little bit different of a music culture there.
And I'm getting the sense that your genre collection is quite vast.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm still like very much at heart, like probably like more like punk, emo, rock kind of is where I think I gravitate to more naturally, somewhere in that collection. But I'll listen to country. I listen to sea shanties, and like when we're fishing, like that's our fishing playlist. So Chris Peters, Kate's executive assistant, she thinks it's hilarious, and even when we're out golfing, she asks me to put my sea shanty playlist on.
That's fantastic. Oh, a good old sea shanty. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right?
All right, so we're going to move on to some rapid fire questions. How do you feel about that?
Perfect.
Fantastic. So, let's see. I just got a random list here. So, what does the success look like to you in one word?
In one word, impact.
Impact. Can you elaborate?
You said one word.
But I'm curious. No. Impact.
I think that to me, I define success as having an impact either on the people around me, the people I'm working, whether that's people I'm working with, the students we're serving, whatever that is. Like, I want to be able to leave an impact, a positive impact, based on the work that I do.
Lasting impression. What part of your identity do you cling to most tightly?
I would say family, like just being someone's family, right? Like whether it's like a wife, a daughter, a cousin, a sibling, a sister, like I'm very, very close with my family. Specifically, like I'm very fortunate that I got to grow up in an environment where my cousins and I grew up more like siblings. And so that's always really fun, and like we're wild and loud and have tons of shared memories together. But I would say that.
Family's awesome, and that sense of belonging. So, last question. Cabin in the middle of the woods or a beach on a tropical island?
We have a cabin in the middle of the woods, and I love it. So probably that. If it was just like on a beach, not a tropical island, I would probably have said that though. Like, I love the water. Like
a nice lake in northern Wisconsin.
Right. I love the water. We have a campsite up on Lake Superior that we go to pretty regularly, so that was the hardest part about being in the desert for undergrad, was like
to do some rock picking up there?
I do not.
No?
Like, I don't go. Our friends do, but like we're on like an actual beach up there, so that's in a marina, so that's really nice. So I've never actually gone rock picking.
No?
Nope.
That's kind of fun. You got to find them Uper lights.
I know, right?
All right. So, well, really appreciate you stopping in. Was there anything else that you wanted to tell us about yourself or your experience at Nicolet College that you feel like would be impactful
No.
to students?
I don't think so. I hope that they just realize that there's people behind the scenes working to hopefully improve their experience and improve their programs, improve, like help give insight and information into services we can provide to them in a really meaningful way.
Fantastic. Well, that about wraps up Backstage for us today. But before we go, Christin has to choose our next guest. And she has selected this lovely hat to draw the next name out of.
Oh, shoot, I drew 2. I drew 3, actually. All right. So the next guest, Megan Gerber.
Megan Gerber. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming today, Christin.
Thanks for having me.